Welcome everyone, my name is Echo, and Actions and Stuff has just been updated again. This is the version 1.2.2, which mainly focuses on bug fixes. Let's see what they fixed, changed, and introduced. So as you all know, Orville Studios released 1.2 last week, and with the release of that version, it introduced a lot of bugs. Bows being broken, mobs being invisible, and villages not working. There has been a lot of changes. So let's update this. The latest version is showing at 31 megabyte. Today, I am Steve. I generally struggle to play Minecraft without actions and stuff now. So welcome to all of the latest changes. I'll put some timestamps on today's video to make things a little bit easier, but most of these are in fact bug fixes, but we do have some slight improvements and tweaks. We are going through all of the changes and bug fixes in 1.2.1, but also 1.2.2. Starting with, they redesigned held plants and added a new nether variant. Now, the change here, and for those of you that play with actions and stuff, you'll know straight away, is that in the previous version, when you are holding a plant, you are practically holding a plant pot. They've now changed it so it actually looks like you're holding dirt. And this is the right way to do it. It kind of makes sense. You're not actually holding a plant pot. So this is a really cool adjustment, and it's going to be the same regardless of what kind of plant you are holding, whether it be a tall one like the sunflower, which looks amazing, or whether it's going to be a small one like a dandelion. And this has been applied for practically every single one of these in Minecraft. However, the petals, you end up with a hanging basket. There's so many cool tweaks and changes in this version. So yes, now you are holding a pile of dirt with a flower in it. So in this version, there has been a lot of changes with the enchantment glance. The creators told me they took a lot of feedback from the community, and a lot of people said it was too distracting. So they've adjusted the intensity of the enchantment effects. Now, I don't notice too much with this one, but a couple of the changes we're going to go through in a second, you will notice a big difference. But basically, the enchantment glints have been slightly reduced just because they were overwhelming for a lot of players. I really like them, and honestly, I didn't mind how strong they were. Honestly, it's kind of like a statement piece. It should be big and bold if you're using netherite swords, or if you've got your pickaxe or your axes as well, especially something like the mace, of course. I love these attacks. I struggle to play Minecraft without this pack now. So yeah, these have been slightly adjusted. Let's move on to the new content and improvements. We are starting with added a new variant of held nether plants. So as I described before, we have had slight changes with the overworld related ones. We now have changes to the nether. I believe this one being the vine was already a thing, but if you are now holding something like the crimson roots, it looks like you're holding a crimson block / dirt style version, right? And this is also going to be the same for the rooted versions as well. So yeah, just slight quality of life improvements on that front. Moving on to the next changes, slightly reduced the size of the enchantment outline. Also tweaked the intensity of the enchantment glow and outline, particularly when in dark areas. Again, a lot of these things were big and bold, and not everyone was a fan of it, so I do understand, but I'll show you guys the differences here. Obviously, you can see the glow outline is kind of gone, but if we go inside of, like, not gone, it's still there, it's just slightly reduced. If we go inside of here, for example, and I take a block from here, put this over here, you can see it's a lot more subtle, especially when you're inside of a cave. And this is also going to be the same for you as a player, not just on an armor stand. So yeah, this is a good change. It's just less distracting if you're in darker areas. Kind of want to see what happens when I change this in real time so we can see the differences there. Yeah, massive difference. It's not just the weapons and tools that were slightly adjusted. They also slightly adjusted the intensity of some items' glowing effects. I asked the creators what that was, and this is all related to things like your torch, things like soul torches whenever you're in a dark area as well. These have been slightly adjusted. You might not notice too much of a difference here. The glows are a little bit less than before, but still look really, really impressive. Again, a lot of players considered it to be distracting. You will know in actions and stuff, if you go underwater with a torch, it's actually extinguished. Now campfires and blaze powder do the same. They will extinguish underwater. So if we were to grab ourselves, I'm not sure it works with lanterns. Yes, it does. As you can see, if we get out of water, it's lit. If we get in, it's not. Previously, before these versions, these would just stay lit underwater, which was a little bit bizarre. Now, if you get in, it's out. If you get in, it goes out. And if you get in, it goes out. These changes make sense. They slightly adjusted Ominous Trial key model to avoid some clipping. I love these. These look so impressive. So this has been slightly adjusted, but how cool does this look? Hands down, one of the coolest items in this as well. So they've just been reduced very, very slightly. It says here, redesigned Golden Apple enchantment to be closer to the other enchantment visuals. So if we just grab a couple of apples here, for example, apparently this has been slightly tweaked. I haven't paid enough attention with this one, but I'll be honest with you, this isn't my favorite one. I just think it's just, I don't know, it just seems too bright for me. But let's see what it looks like when you eat this one. I love the animations. I love the eating animations in these. Every single one of them is really impressive. So this one has been slightly changed. Added enchantment visuals to the lodestone compass. This one can now have an enchanted outline. Didn't previously prior to this version. Added a subtle purple tint to water placed in the end. Added 3D stem to the top of the snow golem pumpkin. I think this is my favorite mob in this, you know. He dances, he jumps, he takes off his hat, he throws snowballs in a really fancy way. Look at that, he even made a heart for you guys. Honestly, I think this is so amazing. Oh, he's having a little dance for you as well, guys. Improved shears animation in third person when moving around. So I messed up with the shears last time, and they wouldn't work when I was showcasing you guys. They do work, but there was a slight bug in this version, which was actually causing it to not work properly. If you right tap on them, it doesn't actually show the animation, but if you left click, it does. Which to me it should be the opposite way, I thought. But yeah, works on things like leaves, and if you're in the third person as well, you can see the animation a lot better. I thought this one was pretty cool. Improved clock item animation when using commands such as /time set midnight. So if we hold this in our hands, keep an eye on the clock, /time set, we do midnight. I love the way this works. /time set noon. I was really impressed with this kind of subtle change. Makes perfect sense for creative players. It says improved ladders and iron bars UI textures. I'm not too sure on these. More than likely some subtle changes on that front. Added a slime texture to the side of pistons so you can more easily see and tell the difference between a regular piston and a normal one. So let's have a little bit of a look here. Regular piston, and this one is going to be the slime one. I'm trying to see the... You better not be angry at me, bro. I'm trying to see the difference here. Apparently it's just slightly on the side of it, but I mean, I could tell a difference in that one, so not sure what people were struggling with. Added name tag for Green Witch. Yes. So you can now put the name Emeraldia, and it will automatically make the witch green. Again, I like that. People love the quirkiness of the Easter eggs in this. So your mushrooms will now have audio once again. Prior to this version, they did not and were slightly bugged. Skeleton horses can now run underwater. Let's get into the actual bug fixes. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will go through a large proportion of these. Finally, they fixed the bow in the 32 times vanilla experience. If you've played with this, you know, right? So prior to this latest version, the bow was invisible, and that was kind of a big problem for them, so they had to get this fixed as soon as possible. That's now been resolved. Fixed villager and husk having a bugged texture in the 32 vanilla experience, which is this experience. Villages, I mean, we don't call them villages. Villages now work again. I physically couldn't trade with these guys last time. That's now been resolved. And the husk is no longer bugged out. And if we were to do /time set and we did it to midnight, look at his eyes. Look how creepy they are. Fixed pale moss blocks using moss block texture. So I think this might be held in hand visual related issue. Fixed sheep textures being cut off when sheared in 32 vanilla experience. Not sure what this was. I'm sorry. It's like, where's my clothes? So that's now being improved. Fixed dispenser and dropper textures being switched. Apparently these were slightly bugged. I'm guessing people noticed this in this perspective. They now work perfectly fine. And this one was a big one as well. Fixed shields not showing their banner textures. I'm not quite sure what version this was in. There's also been like a slight change to when you're placing blocks with this in the offhand. So apparently they were slightly bugged in that front as well. But now the shields and the banners now work correctly. I'm not sure if it was just an issue in this version, but it was an issue in one of them. Fixed end crystal and nether star rotating the offhand item arm when you have an item in your offhand. So if you were to have something like this in here, the rotation could be slightly bugged. I never noticed it or never paid enough attention to see it, but that has now been fixed. They did fix the goat horn visuals, sometimes bugging out in first person. That was resolved. And then as for all the other fixes, I put them inside of here. There is a ton of them. Not major changes. Some of them were to do with the paper doll. Some were to do with the enchantment glow with RTX. Some were to do with witches and wandering traders holding potions incorrectly. Z fighting issues. So I just feel like most of these didn't need to be placed down on signs. I will leave the change log down below in case you guys want to read it for yourself. And the last change, which was 1.2.2, fixed pig eyes in the 32 vanilla experience. So if we summon a pig, I have no idea what was broken with it, but apparently they were bugged out, so they did introduce another hotfix. And that's all of the changes. All of the changes. More is coming to this in the future, but I would like to keep you updated when I possibly can. Hopefully you're still enjoying actions and stuff, and I hope you have a wonderful day.